Hello, bonjour, namaste, ni hao, and ohio everybody. What is going on? It is Galeriot here, and welcome back to the YouTube channel once again for another Danmachi Battle Chronicle video. And today, we are taking on the ranking battle practice stage for the upcoming event ranking in the Following the Sword Princess's Footsteps event. Of course, the event ranking starts on the 10th of January, so we have about a week to prepare for this upcoming event ranking. But one thing that a lot of people tend to ask me is why I'm doing these practice stages and why I'm showing it to you guys. It's to show you guys, well, one, how I start off with these event rankings, because remember, practice is very important. I mean, it's in the name. Practice means you get better at the stage over time, effectively, in this situation, of course. And generally, practice is just repeating things again and again and again so that you get better at it. Now, the reason why I implore more people to do practice is because you can start your scores off when the event ranking begins at a higher amount. If you go into the event ranking without any sort of practice, you are going to suffer as a result of it. Your scores will be about 1,000 points less or so, especially nowadays with the scores being so high. They are going to be 1,000 points or less compared to your best score that you could potentially achieve if you just put in the practice from the very get-go. In fact, for example, with this ranking battle practice stage, I'm already going to tell you guys, I started off with like 5,000 points. Now I'm scoring around 7,000. Now, of course, this video may end up being a case in which I failed to get that 7,000 points, but I've been trying to get myself better at the stage, and even though it's a little bit finicky, and this stage is very finicky, I have been able to more or less consistently get 7,000 points. And so you can already see by my own practice and by me being better at the game, basically by, repeating the stage again and again and learning the stage more and more and learning what is best and what is not best, I'm able to improve my score drastically, allowing me to get a better head start when the event ranking begins. So this stage is very, very important, and I highly recommend people do it because, of course, another reason why I implore people to do especially this ranking battle practice stage is purely because the next event or events will be very important, especially with the half anniversary approaching. And so maximizing the amount of Selas you can get from event ranking, from these events and so on and so forth, is going to be super, super important. So yeah, of course, if you guys go on to enjoy this video, remember to leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel, and of course, let me know your scores right now in the comment section down below. I'm curious to see what you guys are averaging at this point in time, and maybe, hey, we might come back to it later down the line and we can compare everybody's, final runs during the actual event ranking versus what they're scoring now, because I think there's going to be a difference for sure. I know I have a difference. I know some people who I talk to in my familia as well as in the live stream have a noticeable difference between their first runs and their last runs. So let me know in the comment section down below. I'm curious to see what your current averages are looking like. Now, this one is very interesting, this specific ranking battle stage, or stages I should say, because first and foremost, this is the first time we've had a normal ranking battle practice stage and an EX stage. Now, this is something a lot of people have been asking for, actually, as an EX stage, because a lot of people have been saying that, there should be one stage that is, the normal enemies and everything, but there should be also an EX stage where it's a bit more trickier. Maybe there's another set of bosses or something, and it makes it a little bit more challenging. Of course, at least I wished it was something like that, because it's not exactly what you think it is. The stages are pretty much more or less identical. However, the first practice stage, for some reason, and I'll show you exactly, what I mean by it cutting you off, because yes, it cuts you off. It literally just cuts you off. I don't know what other way to describe it. It literally cuts you off after a certain point, and it's quite weird to me that they've gone about doing it like that, to be quite honest. I don't understand the thought process there, but yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. I'm gonna just do this run really quickly, just to show you guys. I'm not gonna really give too much attention to this run because it's not the main run that we're looking to do, to be quite honest. Obviously, I'm looking to show you guys the EX stage and show you guys my best scores, of course. But you guys can probably see some of my tactics and techniques that I utilize in the actual run in this stage as well. Actually, no, there is a noticeable difference in the enemies as well. Actually, I didn't even realize it. But definitely the boss goes down much more easily for sure in the normal stage, which, again, I don't understand it because one, it cuts you off, and two, it makes the enemies a lot easier. I think what would have been better is if it didn't have a hard limit, but the points for each enemy and stuff was a lot less, because yeah, like, I mean, I'm going through these enemies like a butter knife basically with Bell. Bell is just slicing through them like a butter knife, of course, which is super weird to say, but like, that's exactly what's happening here. But yeah, it's a bit weird as to what exactly happens here. I'm not sure if the enemies score less or what, but it definitely feels like, I mean, the enemies are super easier in this normal stage. It just genuinely feels like it's an easy stage basically. The thing is, right, I don't know why anybody would do this stage though. That's the thing. What I feel like these stages should be, right, the normal stage versus the EX stage, is it should be there should be a not a huge difference between the two stages. Maybe, obviously, like I said, maybe make the enemies a little bit easier, maybe introduce some enemies that are a little bit different and stuff, maybe give you less points and stuff. But for the most part, it should be identical in terms of, like, you know, the amount of enemies you get, the maximum. There should be no maximum score or anything of that sort, because it just cuts you off. The game literally just says, no, you're done. You've got the max amount of points you can get. You're done. Get out of the stage. Go on to the EX stage. You only get a maximum of 2,000 points in the normal stage. Again, I think it's a blend of the enemies having less points as well as also the enemies being weaker. That's not exactly what I would have liked to see in the normal versus EX stage. I think the normal stage should have been slightly easier for sure, no doubt about it. But I do think that maybe what they could have done is kept the enemies the exact same, but maybe remove the orc and put it in the EX stage. Put the orc in the EX stage only. I think that would have been way better, and I think that would have made much more sense than just leaving it as, oh, everybody's just a lot easier and it's the same, but we can cut you off at 2,000 points. I think what they should have done is kept an uncapped, no cap at all, just leave it uncapped entirely, let people get as high of a score as possible in the normal stage, but remove the orc, make it a little bit easier, I suppose, and then you're good to go. Because the orc, okay, so one thing a lot of people may ask in the comment section is, what is the scores for every enemy and stuff? Now, I don't know the general mobs, but from my understanding and from what I've spoken to with my familiar members, is that Eyes is valued at 20 points, and the orc is valued at 200 points. So if you remove the orc, you're losing out on 200 points there basically, right? And your job is to effectively, in the normal stage, try and make it up by defeating as many enemies as possible, basically, to cover for those 200 point losses that you get from not killing the orc. I think that would be it for a much more interesting situation to see, like, how players take on the normal ranking battle practice stage. You know, in that stage, maybe Tiona would be better versus the EX stage where Belle and Lafia are markedly better, of course, right? So I think that would be very, very interesting to me, and I would be quite curious to see how that would turn out. This is still not bad, but I feel like it just kind of gets invalidated because you can only get a maximum of 2,000 points. Whereas in the EX stage, even if you breathe a little bit, with Tiona, for example, you can still get 3,000, 4,000 points. So it just invalidates the normal stage, in my personal opinion. Whereas the EX stage is actually you know, just where everybody should be at anyways, right? Now, let's go over my team really quickly and show you guys what I'm running. So I'm running Belle and Lafia, of course, no doubt about it. We have to run them. Their assists are Hestia and Chigusa. Hestia for that damage boost, and of course Chigusa to get that little bit of chip damage when I need to use her, of course. And then the last unit I've gone for is Haruhime with Lafia. Of course, Haruhime is phenomenal. She is such a good support unit, of course, right? Again, one of the best support units in the game, of course, with her ability to give a huge damage boost and, of course, damage reduction as well. We're going to be using her for the damage increase here, 45% to all units for 35 seconds. It stays up for a very long time, and I think that's going to be extremely, extremely vital. Now, I've gone with Lafia just to get that little bit of damage, of course, if I can, if they are in the range, and I can use Lafia when I use Haruhime's ult. It doesn't waste too much time, maybe a second at most, so that's something to bear in mind. Now, one thing I've noticed in this run, right, in this specific event ranking stage, and ranking battle practice stage, I should say, is that you need to keep a track of your timer way more than in any other event ranking. Usually in other event rankings, I always tell you guys to keep an eye out on the timer for certain enemies and stuff. Now you need to keep an eye out on the timer for every 20 seconds because the special move gauge on your main unit refills to a higher degree compared to the rest of your two units because of this special technique introduction they've done, or a special condition they've introduced for this specific event ranking, wherein your special move gauge will refill every 20 seconds. So you have to be careful on who you decide to have on the field in order to get those in order to get that special gauge refill at every 20-second interval. For me, I've always preferred to use Bell. So far in all my runs, I've preferred to use Bell, but depending on how you perform and how you want to execute your run, you may want to give it to Lafia, you may want to give it to Haruhime, potentially. I would probably say Lafia or Bell are the best options, but depending on what you're running, you may want to give it to that specific unit that you feel is taking advantage of that, taking advantage of that special move gauge reset massively. That's the main thing. That's the main thing you want to look for. All right, let's go and do this run now and see what we get. So obviously, the start of the run is very straightforward. Keep going for it. I've noticed that ice spawns in a lot more commonly in this run than in other event rankings. It seems like this one is every 5 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. I could be a little bit off with that, but it definitely seems like it's about every 5 seconds or so, which makes it a very interesting situation, of course, in that you have to make sure that you're using eyes to you're using eyes consistently as a guinea pig to just take deal as much damage as possible and stuff. But yeah, now of course what we're trying to do here is we're trying to build up as much Realis as possible on Bell in order to basically KO the Orc, because the Orc he is a tanky guy, bro. He is so tanky. The Orc is so tanky. It's actually ridiculous as to how tanky that guy is, man. It's unbelievable. And it is very frustrating when you can't kill him. If you can't kill him, I don't know if it invalidates your run, but it definitely makes your run go a lot slower for sure, making it a lot more trickier to get a high score. Unfortunately, it really is very tricky. Now, of course, here, as you can see, we've been able to take advantage of the reset to get Bell's reset up faster. And now we can obviously do this, which will kill the Orc, which was fantastic. There we go. And we got a couple of the other enemies because Bell's range is insane. Of course, he is a cracked man. He's a beast. But yeah, and of course, these guys keep rolling, which is really frustrating. I hate the fact that those guys can roll, honestly. It makes it so much more frustrating. Alright, we're going to use Hestia here. Hestia, again, has been super valuable here because she just deals so much damage, which helps out massively. Alright, there we go. Use this. And then we can go for this. A bit of a misplay here. I would have preferred to have Lafia's ult up as much as I can, of course. But of course, that may not always be the case. You know, it doesn't work out the way you think it is. Now, what I try and aim for is I want to get the birds usually by like around, give or take 1 minute 10, 1 minute 15, basically. If possible, that is probably my best scoring runs, basically. Now, I will say this one so far hasn't been the greatest. I will say I'm wasting a lot of time here with the Bell. Unfortunately, I wasted a lot of time there with Bell, but I think we can still come out of it strong-ish, hopefully. All right, there we go. All right, and the knockdown. Also, the Phoenix knocks you down, which is really frustrating, but it's not something I can control, unfortunately. And this happens. This is where my runs tend to derail a little bit, I feel, is just the fact that I can't seem to get a grasp of, using my units really well here towards the end of the run. I don't know what it is. It just falters somehow, and I don't understand when it falters, really. It makes it really frustrating for me, to be quite honest. I end up being like, God damn it, this could have been such a good run, and then it doesn't end up being a good run, unfortunately. Now here, I've made a mistake here already. I can already tell you guys I've made a mistake, because I lost out on the ability to get one of Bell's ults, unfortunately. And I don't think I can get him another ult, which is unfortunate. But what we can do is we're going to just use Lafia to get as many kills as possible. And I'm going to just do this. There we go. And, well, I didn't get the last kill. Unfortunately, I didn't get the last kill. But I'm quite curious to see what score I'll get here. I'm expecting around 6,800, 900-ish. I know my runs. I can tell you for a fact, I know my runs. I know my runs really well now. It's something that I'm kind of inconsistent with right now, though, unfortunately, is that last part of the fight tends to just get derailed really quickly purely because of a silly mistake, something that I've just slipped. Maybe I was out of position. Maybe I should have done a certain skill when I shouldn't have, or I've done a certain skill when I've not done a certain skill when I should have. It becomes very tricky in that regards, and it becomes quite frustrating because I feel like I could do so much better with these runs, but like, yeah, it's one of those things that, you know, can't really control, unfortunately. All right, big man, get over here. There we go. Let's go. Yeet. There we go. One good thing about some of these enemies is that they actually come towards you, which helps you out tremendously. Let's do this. Do this. Drop this on them. There we go. I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna just launch, because I think with Hestia and Haruhime we should be able to kill the boss there. There we go. That's something I've also learned, is that you can kind of learn how exactly strong your units are depending on you know, just practice. Pretty much you can tell, like, okay, early on I can probably get away with doing certain things that I probably wouldn't in later parts of the fight, so on and so forth. It just helps you out massively. All right, let's launch here. We're doing one more run just to show you guys what a potentially good-ish run can do. Obviously there's no trusting, you know, if it'll be actually good or not, but we'll try. We will try. That's the aim of this, you know, that's the aim of this. I should have probably used Hestia there as well, to be quite honest. Hestia, I mean Chigusa, sorry. Chigusa is what I meant. But yeah, I could have probably used Chigusa there. There we go. Let me go over here, and we can launch it from here. There we go. Very nice. Nice. Alright, let's see what we can do here. And launch here. And we can do Chigusa here because that'll help us out a little bit more. There we go. Also, I realized one thing when I was streaming last night as well. This is probably one of the first stages where I'm like, I actually can't talk here. I actually cannot talk here. Otherwise, I'm gonna mess up big time. Alright, let's go over here and then launch from here, because we can get the orc and eyes here. Alright, there we go. Not a problem. Drop this as well. Let me switch into you. Drop this. Maybe that'll help. That actually worked out a lot better than I thought it would, to be quite honest. That actually worked out a lot better than I thought it would. Do this. There we go. Very nice. Orcs here. Okay. Can I get eyes from here? I don't know. I could. Wow. That was a risk, you know. That was a very big risk I took there. But it worked out tremendously, you know. Also, you should also... one thing I've realized as well. I need to use Lafia's E a little bit more, man. I feel like I've not been using it a lot here. And it's definitely hurt me a little bit more than I feel like if I had been using it as well. But that's on me. That's something I'm misplaying on, to be quite honest. But, you know, that's something I need to improve on for sure. Aw, shite. That could have been so good. Let's launch here. There we go. I'm just going to launch with Lafia from now on. Let's see. What can I get here? Come on. Give me a good score. Give me a good score game. I want to see a good score. I actually think that this is probably one of my better runs, it feels like. But to be honest, I've still not been able to tell completely. 7,500, not bad. I managed to get a 7.9k earlier today, but unfortunately, I kind of forgot to record it, to be quite honest. I'd just been like, okay, let me get on. Let me try and practice a little bit before I make this video, because then I know exactly what I'm talking about while I'm making this video. But unfortunately, I just didn't record it. I didn't record it at all. I actually have a picture of it in my Discord. But yeah, I just didn't record it, which is my mistake, unfortunately. That happens, sadly. You know, sometimes you get a really good run, but you don't realize it necessarily. And at that point, I still didn't realize how good of a run it was. But yeah, now a lot of people may also be wondering, like, you know, strength, magic, what's the best way of going? Why is Hestia better than Hephaestus? Of course, because Hephaestus has the same attribute bonus, right? So theoretically, she should be better, right? Now, the reason why I personally believe Hestia is a little better, right, compared to Hephaestus, is I just genuinely believe that I feel like Hestia just provides more. Obviously with the dexterity, the strength, the magic bonus as well, the general damage increase as well. I think she just is a little bit better overall. And I mean, of course, for me personally, she is a higher level. I think maybe if you have Hephaestus at level 70, maybe at a higher level, skill level, of course, right? Because mine's is the same-ish across the board. I think maybe Hephaestus might be better for some people, because at the end of the day, 47.2% strength increase, 23.6% damage increase. Technically, the whole idea of attack, the attack stat that a unit has, right, is basically strength plus magic combined, or strength plus intelligence combined. That is the idea. A lot of people actually don't realize this, but that is exactly how it works in this game, it seems like. It's just the combination of those two stats. It doesn't tend towards one or the other, nor do units who are physical tend towards strength more, or magic units tend to tend towards magic or int more. They don't do that. It's only the healing units where they have that in status multiplier tend towards magic more. Otherwise, everything else is like a combination of the two effectively when it comes to attacking moves at least. So in that regards, yeah, that is something to acknowledge. But also the other reason why I feel Hestia is a little bit better as well is, well, not only the dexterity, but also that you get an extra 5 seconds of the damage increase, which can make a big difference in this game mode. You have 3 minutes, right? 15 extra seconds basically, assuming you use Hestia 3 times in total. That's a 15-second boost compared to Hephaestus's boost effectively, right? So something to keep in mind there. Same thing with, of course, Haruhime's damage boost. It's not just towards a certain thing, it's a general damage increase. So very, very important and very, very strong. So yeah, these are things that I'd keep an eye out on. In terms of scene cards, I've just gone purely for stat boosts on Belle and also normal attack damage, just to give me that edge when I'm just attacking generally. For Luffy, I've gone full special move damage, because she can deal special move damage, right? So giving her the special move damage allows me to basically use the special move and expect to kill almost all the enemies except the orc, right? Keep that in mind. Also, I've gone for the Goliath robe on Belle purely because of not the skill. The skill's useless here. What I do love is the characteristics, and these characteristics are insane because remember, these characteristics activate at all times. Other battle items, like for example, the Orario Summer Ring, only activate when you use the battle item, whereas for the Goliath robe, it's active at all times, which is a considerable improvement. It's the same with the Goliath robe and the Final Medicine. Both of them activate at all times. The other battle items, like this Star Suite battle item, is only applicable when you're using the item itself. So IMO, I highly recommend getting good rolls on these two. In all honesty, I would highly recommend getting good rolls on these. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a great roll on this one. I tried my best and just never got a good roll at all for Final Medicine. I have hammers that I can use, but unfortunately, I'm just gonna have to wait for the next Uncharted Battlefield, assuming it comes back, which I don't think it'll. I think we'll move on to a new battle item entirely. But yeah, the Goliath robe, highly recommend trying to maximize it when you can, of course, and when you get the opportunity to basically boost it up as much as possible. But yeah, let me know how your scores are looking like in event ranking. I will be probably making a video tomorrow once again on event ranking and the ranking battle practice stage to see what others are scoring. I want to see how much they're getting, because I'm expecting people to be getting 8Ks, 9Ks, people who are better than me, of course, at the game, and those who are capable of doing their rotations better. Of course, if you have any advice for me, I'm willing to hear it as well. I'm still improving. This is only day 2, of course. I still have a long way to go. I think I can get more consistent scores, 7,500s a little bit more consistently, but for now I'm stuck at between 7 to 8K, just hovering, between those ranges basically, and sometimes dipping into the 6Ks here and there. So it's a bit of a struggle here, but we're gonna keep trying. But yeah, hopefully you guys have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.